question. So I would suggest any of you to explain.
I can go if you allow me.
Yeah,
sure.
okay.
I think Asma, let's give a chance to us.
Okay,
Yes.
go ahead.
As per my understanding, it was written as the company has a goal of increasing number of customer satisfaction. So once the customer satisfaction has been mentioned and they are focusing on that, so in that scenario, the project management manager needs to identify the best practices. It will come upon the benchmarking. He will set the ideal situations where what are the ideal situation, what will be the ideal scenario. So in that the benchmarking is the correct option.
That's correct. Clearly, the project manager wants to work on this use case of increasing customer satisfaction within 4 months by using the benchmarking mechanism, which is identifying the best standards and practices for themselves, maybe within the organization, maybe outside the organization, which is not mentioned, but that doesn't matter. Best practices is best practices, whatever they consider as best practices. Okay, thank you, Asma. I think multiple people wanted to contribute. So now who wants to tell me why B, C, D is not, they are not the correct options? Who would want to tell?
So focus group is basically related on to, your focus towards one this definite thing, but the keyword here was best practice for me. Focus group doesn't come into that. Likewise, facilitation is any meeting that you facilitate in which, like, even it can be a brainstorming session that you are getting facilitated by somebody. So I just put that out as well because of the best practice being the keyword here. Affinity diagram, you correlate basically similar things there and how they so here we are trying to get towards the best practice. So I just threw that out as well, that this is not the right one for me.
Yes, affinity diagram is like organizing your ideas
Yeah.
into more
Groups and-
manageable groups and
Yeah,
categories.
groups,
So,
exactly. Similar
giving
groups.
more visibility to your thoughts, which you have done in brainstorming
Right.
and mind mapping. So it's
Right.
definitely, so only you will be able to eliminate it once you have that understanding that what's affinity diagram. And this is
Sure.
exactly the same thing I told you, that affinity diagram is a popular terminology in exam questions in the option choices only for elimination, right? So if you probably would end up choosing it just because of the reason that you find it too fancy and you think that, okay, probably this is the answer, and maybe like let me choose this one as the answer. So PMI tricks you a lot via this, because they know that most of the people from their organizational practices, they don't use the affinity diagram terminology. So they just confuse you with that. The same goes with statistical sampling in quality management, for instance, or scatter diagram in quality management, right? Because this is a very new terminology for you in PMI. So you need to know the terminology. Then if you recall in our first class, when we talked about the do's and don'ts or expectations about the exam, so PMI expects you to know their terminologies, know their keywords and different concepts associated to PMI. Of course, everybody's right in their explanation. This is about benchmarking. This is not about focus group. Focus group talks about a particular agenda, based discussion. Facilitation is like just facilitating, like running something, running some sessions or some events, which is definitely not a conversation over here. And affinity diagram, as we have already discussed, this is also not a conversation.